So, what the heck is doming anyway? Well, you know, when you are making little pieces, or bigger pieces, I guess, with molds, a lot of times with the resin, it kind of moves up the edges a little bit, so you get like a little ridge. And you don't want that. You could file it off, and sometimes that's what I do, but a lot of times what I do is doming. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. Hi everybody. So I saw somebody on Facebook wanting to know how to do doming. So I had a bunch of things that needed to be domed, so I thought I'd do a quick video, show you how I do that. So I'm using Magic Resin. This is the tabletop version. They also have deep casting. When you're working with resin, wear gloves, and if you're not in a large ventilated room, you should wear a respirator. So I'm going to just make up some resin, not a lot. This resin is use equal parts, 50-50. So I'm just gonna make, I don't know, like, maybe kind of 2 ounces or so. Got a few other projects on the go that if I have some extra resin, I can use it up there. So let's just do that much for now. So that's part A, that's the actual resin. And then this is the hardener, so I'll put an equal amount in there. My other little cup, and then I will mix them together. Ooh, get the lid off. These aren't clear cups, so it's a little bit trickier to get the exact amount, but I should be okay. So this is the hardener. I usually pour it second. It's thinner, so it's easier to judge how much you're using. That looks good. Usually I use clear cups so I can see better, because you want to make them pretty much exactly the same amounts. Okay, so that's that. And then I will pour them into another cup to mix. Usually pour the thin one in first. Scrape it all out of the cup. Go. And then the thicker one, the resin. Pour that in. Okay. So I'm just going to mix this up now for about 4 minutes. Make sure it's all really well mixed. And then I'll show you how I do the doming. Okay, so resin is all mixed, and now there are things you can get. There's this thing called a doming mat, and it's like a corrugated type, probably silicone surface, and it'll keep, you can adjust your pieces to make sure they're level, because that's important. I've got my silicone mat, and I've got it on a piece of like core board so that I can adjust it if it's not level. But I don't have one of those doming mats. I've seen people also they put down a bed of rice, and that way you can adjust it a little bit easier. But so far I've been pretty lucky. Just, most pieces will stay nice and level. So it's worked okay for me. This piece was a little bit tippy, so I just put a little bit of damped paper towel underneath it. And it seems to work okay. One of these days, it's on my list, get a doming mat. Can't get everything all at once. Okay, so my resin is all mixed. So I'm just going to put a little bit, let's start over here. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough to do those coasters, but I usually mix too much resin. Actually, all of these pieces are from another project that I mixed too much resin, so I just threw this in molds and that. So I'm not good at estimating how much I need. So I'm just gonna put some right in the middle. Leave it a little bit. It does a lot of the spreading out on its own. I mixed this resin a little bit quick, so it's got a lot of bubbles in, but it's okay for what I'm doing. There we go. I'm going to spread that a little bit out. I probably put a bit too much in there. So all you do is just push it out right to the edge, being careful not to go over the edge. Just right to the very edge, and it will naturally kind of stop there, as long as you don't push it too far. You just want to make sure you're pushing it right to the edge. There we go. That one I need a little bit more. Can you see what I'm doing? Yeah, I think so. So a little bit more there. Push that out. Beautiful. Okay, so to get rid of the bubbles, you can do one or two things. You can either spray it with alcohol, and that works really good to get the, and that's what I do if I've got resin in molds, because if you torch your molds, you're gonna ruin them. Trust me, I know. So if this was in a mold, I'd use this, just a little spritzer of alcohol, but because I'm not using a mold, I'm just gonna use my torch. Look at that. See all the bubbles clear right up? Beautiful. So I'll do that a few times, back and forth. Look at that, gorgeous. And I'll just keep checking, make sure nothing's dripping, but they're staying nice and level, so I should be good. And then that will cure overnight. And we'll come back in the morning and I'll show you. I'll have a beautiful, nice, even pendant. So here we are the next morning. Everything is nicely cured, so I don't have that dip anymore. Nice soft edges. You see? Some of them might still have a tiny bit of an edge around, but that is easy to file without it even showing. Yeah. So that makes it nice and smooth all the way around. And that is doming. Now, I don't use any of those, like I don't have a doming tray. Look at this one. It's spilled over a little bit. Can you see that? That's okay. I can just shave that off. The rest of it is just fine. So that happens sometimes. It's usually not too hard of a fix to do, but yeah, that's great. So that's doming. There you go.